DW Africa Link.
GMOs. Those are the initials for genetically modified organisms. GMOs are organisms such as plants, animals, or microbes whose DNA has been altered through genetic engineering to introduce specific traits such as pest resistance, drought tolerance, or longer shelf life. Now that all sounds good, right? But there are critics who question the ethics of GMOs and the possible long-term consequences. It has become a subject of intense debate in Nigeria, with strong voices both for and against their use, especially regarding genetically modified maize recently approved for commercial cultivation. So why is there such controversy? And are GMO foods good to consume? That's what's coming up. I am Eddy Micah Jr., and you are welcome to Africa Link, the podcast connecting you to the stories that matter.
Africa Link, every weekday here on DW.
Some Nigerian scientists, farmers, activists, and other individuals are calling for a total ban on GMO food in Nigeria. They are concerned that the recently approved GMO maize could lead to health complications. Some are even calling GMO foods food terrorism. But others argue that GMO foods are vital for food security in Nigeria. For more on this, let's bring in Dr. Rufus Ebegba, former Director General of National Biosafety Management Agency, Nigeria. He was the man who officially introduced GMO into Nigeria. And then there's my colleague, Ben Shemang, DW correspondent in Nigeria. Welcome to the both of you. Ben, can you tell me more about the ongoing debate in Nigeria about GMOs? How has it become a topic now?
Well, Eddy, you see, in Nigeria, once there is an issue involving health, it becomes very topical. People want to debate about it. Everyone wants to share their opinion. And in sharing opinions, it's divided. Many people are feeling that GMOs will kind of bring some challenges when it comes to health issues. If you are talking about kidney, if you're talking about liver, the heart, and various other vital organs of the human being. So Nigerians are worried over that. But you also find people who are saying, look, Nigeria today will have to move with scientific discoveries because when you have GMOs, it's an attempt to make food security. There has to be availability because there has to be some improved varieties. But some people are also worried that in trying to bring the improved varieties, there are always never ways of identifying which one is GMO and which one is traditionally a Nigerian product. Bearing in mind that in America, for example, there are some advice as to what is what in terms of anything someone should take. For example, people say it's going to cause cancer, it will cause the kidney failures and all that stuff.
So how did this debate come about, Ben? I think that's what we really want to get, because GMO has been talked about for a long time now. In fact, it's a never-ending debate.
It popped out from nowhere again when some people started looking at it from a religious angle. They said, if you join, say, sugarcane with some millet, for example, then it's going to produce something that is between. Now, if you join pork with maybe some goat or ram, what will it produce? And the Muslims don't eat pork. So that kind of triggered some debates, and some people are now feeling, oh, in that case, let's look at it holistically. What about the health implication? Bearing in mind that some bigger countries are taking it with some pinch of salt. So it came up, and the social media simply sprayed it and preyed on it too.
Okay. Well, let's talk to the man himself, Dr. Rufus Ebegba, former Director General of National Biosafety Management Agency in Nigeria. Sir, you are the man credited for introducing GMO officially into Nigeria. What motivated you to introduce GMOs to your country?
The Nigerian government believes that biotechnology could transform the economy, particularly the agricultural sector, to secure food security. And in respect of that, The government has established various institutions that dealing with genetic engineering. We have about 13 agri-research institutes, conventional universities, and National Biotechnology Development Agency, saddled with responsibility to ensure biotechnology is applied in all sectors of the economy. And we have a national policy on the biotechnology. We also have a national agri policy that has adopted biotechnology as one of the tools. And the federal government of Nigeria realized the need for this technology to be properly regulated. Put into consideration that Nigeria is a signatory to the Convention on Biological Diversity and also to its subsidiary protocol, which is biotechnology, biosafety protocol, to international protocol on biosafety, which is the global regulatory body on GMOs. So the Nigerian government established the National Biosafety Management Agency in 2015. And the agency is saddled with responsibility to ensure that modern biotechnology is applied safely and its products, which are genetically modified organisms, are safe to the environment and human health. And subsequently, some institutions in Nigeria, in collaboration with some other partners, applied for the release of some crops. For instance, some for scientific research, like for confined trials, and also some for commercial release. And so far, when I was the Director General, I was the pioneer GG of the National Biosafety Management Agency, there were applications for the release of genetically modified cotton, genetically modified cowpea, which is beans, and genetically modified corn. These products have been released for farmers' cultivation. It's in respect of that, we carried out the risk assessment, risk analysis on these products, and we found them to be safe, not having any adverse impact on the environment and human health. And we approved them to be used by Nigerians, particularly to ensure the food stability and others. So the release is based on the fact that these products are safe.
The challenge, though, is that some experts and some scientists are warning, especially when it comes to using GMOs in agriculture. They're talking about environmental concerns and potential long-term health risks, as well as economic impact on farmers. Are you saying that is not a concern at all, and it's all positive when it comes to GMOs in agriculture?
So far, globally, and in Nigerian context, even the World Health Organization and Food and Agricultural Organization, all this and some other scientific bodies have alluded to the fact that all approved GMOs in the world, they are safe as their conventional counterparts. And I also want to tell you only that some of these claims they are making, there is no scientific basis.
I mean, there are scientists and experts involved. Are you saying the scientists don't know what they are talking about?
Let me tell you, science is specific. If your science is not in compliance with international norms or agreed scientific basis, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. All those who have been saying GMOs have caused this, there is no truth in that. It's all fallacy. I was on this for so many years, and I can tell you that all GMOs, they are safe as their conventional counterparts. And what do you really look at when you're talking about biosafety? You look at it, particularly in the health sector, does it cause, is the GMOs deviated from its normal nutritional value? Will it cause cancer? Will not even cancer, will it be toxic? And allergy. These are the two basic things we are looking at.
Just to jump in here a bit, there are still health concerns. Well, basically it's still being looked into, right? There are possible allergic reactions. GM crops is being said can introduce, novel proteins that could trigger allergic reactions in some individuals. There's also concerns about possible long-term health effects because there is a lack of long-term studies on the effects of consuming GMOs, and that raises concerns about potential health risks that may not be apparent in short-term studies. So just to be clear, there is still not enough evidence for long-term use of GMOs. Isn't that correct?
You see, when you are looking at any product, you look at the product. When you see the erroneous impression about GMOs is that genetically modified organisms, that they are chemicals, they are products of chemicals. They are not. Our GMOs are not the same. They are developed for different purposes. For instance, they are developed for insect resistance. Those ones that are resistant to insects, you know the basis for which they are there. And also you look at the area of the gene, what is GMOs is itself. GMOs are products that has been enhanced by moving material of inheritance of a particular characteristic to another to convert such characteristics into the one that you have modified. That is the essence. Then the ones that are herbicide tolerant. Those ones that are insect tolerant means that when you spray them with herbicide, it will kill other crops, kill other plants, but it will not kill that particular one because it has built some certain resistance, tolerance into it. And again, you have the one that you can also breed for nutritional value, adding maybe to now produce more vitamin A or vitamin C. So if you look at the production, it's not the same. So you cannot say the long-term effect. If you look at it, particularly the gene of insects, where it is coming from, those organisms have been known to have safety. They have never caused any harm.
You're not wrong. Again, the only thing I want to draw attention on is there is still extensive research being done about GMOs because the long-term effect is still not clear, right? But in what you're saying that GMO is largely used, yes, in the US and many other countries, GMO is being used a lot in agriculture, especially when it comes to corn and other such products. That is a fact that's being used a lot. People, though, are still raising concerns. In Nigeria, there are some farmers that are worried. They are noting that no other plant has been able to germinate on the farmlands where the GM seeds were planted, even after several years. That is something that they realize. What do you make of that?
Most claims on GMOs are based on trade interests. And when I say this, because like there are GMOs that are insect resistant. They have been produced so you will not use chemicals. If you are using chemicals, use less quantity. So you can tell me that those people who are campaigning that GMOs are not safe, I'm not campaigning for GMOs, but I know that all GMOs approved so far have no adverse impact on human and environment. And I can tell you that with GMOs are even safer than their conventional counterpart because the process of coming out with conventional plants or crops, it takes the use of more chemicals and also affects biodiversity, that is the living system, more than GMOs that are specific. And also the issue of the climate change is also linked to the genetic engineering methods of GMOs. So if you put all this together, I can tell you GMOs are even safer than the conventional counterparts.
So just to be clear, you're saying that the farmers are wrong. They don't know what they're saying. You're saying that the scientists and experts that say there could be some human health impact, aside, of course, the agricultural challenges that it could also pose. You're saying that all that is not true and GMOs are all positive and nothing wrong, or what exactly are you saying?
Okay, let me tell you one thing. There's what is called the stewardship. When you are planting a GMO, they will tell you if the farmers do not really keep on with the protocol of coming out with the best results, definitely they're not going to get the best results. The Nigerian farmers that are adopting this technology, they are very few so far because the seeds are not even enough for them. So far, I've not heard any of them saying that this is, unless those are being brought in by anti-GM group to really say GMOs to cast aspersion on GMOs. And as for the scientists, even let me tell you, not every scientist has the knowledge about genetic engineering or biotechnology. Some professors have come out to say, they're even talking about, in fact, when they come out with some statement, you'll be wondering whether they are scientists. So it's not all scientists. Look, if the Academy of Science, US Academy of Science, Nigeria Academy of Science, and some other global scientific say that these products, they've not found anything, different from what the conventional counterpart is. And nobody has actually been harmed through the consumption of GMOs. There is no evidence. And those anti-GM groups say that GMOs are not, they go to America and go and eat GMO and come to Nigeria because of their interests. They are highly paid to carry out these campaigns. So let us not be misled. And I can tell you one thing, the Nigerian government is very happy, and the Nigerians who are already using GMOs, particularly the farmers, they are very happy that they are now having benefits from their products.
Okay, yes. I'm gonna go to my correspondent soon, but before I do that, for those that just joined, we're talking about GMOs, genetically modified organisms.
Okay.
What exactly is that, and why is that something you recommend for local farmers?
Genetically modified organisms, they are intervention products. They are not meant to come unless there is an issue in breeding technology that cannot be solved using conventional ones. That is why genetic engineering is being applied to come up with the GMOs. And they have not, in fact, the problem associated with them have been resolved, and the farmers are better off. use less chemicals, and also have bumper harvest. And scientifically, in the area of biosafety assessment, these products are safe as their conventional. I say safe as their conventional counterpart. That to say substantially equivalent. So any farmer that wants to grow GMOs, anybody that wants to eat GMOs, and also let me tell you, GMOs are all labeled all over the world. You have a choice. Those who don't want to eat GMOs, they don't need to eat GMOs. Those who want to eat GMOs, they should allow them to eat GMOs. Freedom of choice.
Right. I mean, I was just about to go to Ben, but you mentioned something about labeling. Now, earlier this year, a national coordinator of the GMO-Free Nigeria Alliance warned that GMOs approved in Nigeria are not labeled. Why are they not labeled to warn the public, or at least to let people know that what they are having is GMO or not?
The National Biosafety Management Agency Act of 2015, as amended in 2019, makes it mandatory for all GMOs to be labeled. So if anybody is telling you, I can tell you, free Nigeria GMO, Nigeria will never be free of GMOs. Nigeria will always have GMOs. And I tell you, globally, if any country is telling they don't want GMOs, those are the ones who are processing them. They don't want to grow them yet because they are still doing their own research to come up with their own product. It's all based on trade and economic interests.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll come back to you in a bit. But Ben, our correspondent on the ground, Ben, you've been listening to all of this. How much awareness does the ordinary Nigerian know about GMOs?
Let me tell you, in terms of awareness, it's a bit very, very low because campaigns are not that aggressive. And if we also have some agencies that would have also been going to check in terms of labeling, whether some products are being labeled to warn people or advise people to make choices, it's like they don't move around as they ought to be. We ought to have the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, and even Standards Organization of Nigeria. They should be able to send their staff to ensure that labeling is done. There should also be some awareness campaigns, radio, TV, and because the social media too is actually feeding on these fixations that GMOs are really harmful.
Talking about that, I mean, you're a journalist. You've been speaking to people on the ground. You've been speaking to farmers. You are a farmer yourself. But speaking to other farmers, have there been definite cases of ailments that you know which have been traced to the consumption of GMO food in Nigeria, for instance?
I would not be talking scientifically here because truly, there hasn't been any instance where a disease or ailment is traced to consumption of this. When you go to buy seedlings of maize, for example, when you ask which one is a GMO and which one is not, sometimes they just say, Oga, please just buy either yellow or white corn, which tells you that even the seller does not really know what he's selling, but all he wants is money. And so it's just the practice here. People are just not in tune with what they are selling. But I should be quick to add that in most cases, you see this anti is always at conference venues. When some government agencies would organize conference to say this is what GMO is all about, the benefits and all that. Some others will counter to say, look, these are the health hazards that we have.
Social media, obviously, you get a lot of such information. Say, what role would you say social media has played in informing public opinion on GMO farming?
Yeah, you see, like in the North, they usually take their bearing from what happened when there was this polio outbreak. They brought some medicine for tests, and many children died because the test went wrong. The medication also went wrong. In the same vein, they're saying some of these GMOs are likely to cause the same thing, and that's why you're having this kind of a reaction.
You're saying that there's a lot of discussion going on, or a lot of information, some fake news, basically, is what you're saying sometimes on social media, that is confusing people. So let me just pose this to you. As a farmer yourself, would you use GMO seeds to grow crops?
So far, the scientists are saying it doesn't have any harm. I think, yes, Eddie, I'll use it if, because let's veer into broadcasting. When people are saying they'll stick to traditional broadcasting, they brought digitization and simply said, you go digital. If you said no, the Europeans are the ones manufacturing the equipment. When yours is dead as analog, then you just have to, you must buy a digital or you shut down your station. So when it comes to food security, the hunger in which Nigeria is now, as some people would just feel that, look, we can still go on with the GMOs. And well, I think so. And I tend to line up with them.
Okay. Let me come to you, Dr. Ebegba. European nations maintain stricter regulations allowing the limited cultivation of GMO crops. What regulations has Nigeria put in place?
The European Union is made up of different countries. Some of the countries are consuming, some of them are growing, some of them are using the product to genetically modify organisms for confectionery for production of food and other things, processed food. While some are not growing it because they are still doing their science, and it's for all economic reasons. They want to produce their own product instead of buying from external community. So if anybody is telling you that in Nigeria we do not have regulations, we have the National Biosafety Management Agency Act 2015 as amended, and also we have biosafety regulations.
What does the future hold for GMOs in Nigeria and other African countries?
Let me tell you, in the near future, biotechnology is going to dominate the food production in Africa, in the world, in Nigeria, because the current population cannot be sustained by conventional and obsolete technology in food production. Science and technology is going to drive the economy, drive farming system, drive food security. So if anybody is telling, even if you're talking about green economy, bioeconomy, they are going to be driven by biotechnology.
Right. What about those that complain about how expensive it is? Is this something that any ordinary farmer can get their hands on when it comes to GMO seeds?
Yes, it's something that ordinary farmer is. It is the ordinary farmers that are growing it in Nigeria, the ones who have already. People in America is also used to mega farming system. But the time is coming, Nigeria is going to advance to that level. So the cost of production of GMOs is quite high, but the output, at times you sell your products. For instance, you grow genetically modified maize. Maybe you bought it 10,000 naira, then the other one you bought it down 8,000 naira. At times you will now be having almost four times, let's say 25 to 30, 40% increase in yield. And the man that is spending 8,000 is not getting even 10% of what he has produced. What is
right? So you're saying it's expensive to access the seeds, but you're saying that it's worth it.
It's worth it because you get back your profit more than 30 to 40%.
Okay. There's so much we could discuss more when it comes to GMOs, but let us leave it here. Dr. Rufus Ebegba, former Director General of National Biosafety Management Agency, Nigeria. You're the man who introduced GMO officially into Nigeria. Thank you very much for your time. Also, Ben Shemang, DW correspondent in Nigeria. Thank you both.
Get the stories that are shaping the continent here on Africa Link.
The debate continues. GMOs like drought-tolerant maize can help Nigeria address food shortages amid climate challenges. Significant opposition exists, with some scientists and advocacy groups citing potential health risks, environmental concerns, and national security implications related to foreign corporate control. Now, across Rwanda, Uganda, and Kenya, traditional organic crops are in decline, sparking concern among locals. In Kenya, for instance, GMOs remain technically banned, and public skepticism persists, even as drought-resistant seeds could offer solutions. The divide is not any different in other parts of the world. The US, Brazil, and Argentina widely adopt GMOs for economic and food security benefits. In contrast, many European nations like France, Germany, and Switzerland enforce bans or restrictions driven by public resistance and precautionary policies. So, what do you think? Please share your thoughts with us on our Facebook page, DW Africa. Listen to us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from. Don't forget to click follow and subscribe to our DW Africa YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. This show was co-produced and edited by Isaac Mugabe. And I am Eddy Micah Jr. Thanks for listening.